Welcome. In this pointless POS video, we are going to cover exit labels. This is an example of an exit label. Here I'm selecting to print a label of this Evo Lab Academy. And we've got our label emulator here. And this has all the fields that are applicable for the exit label and values filled out in those, as well as descriptions of things that need to be on it. So how do we do that? We're going to start by opening Zebral Label Designer. You don't need the professional. You can just download the regular Zebral Label Designer basic version from Zebra. You'll create a new label. We're going to choose to print on a roll of labels, a portrait. We're going to set the width to 3, the height to 4. In our case, it's already set. Next, and finish. My current label printer has a defined width. That's what it's using this red line for, but we can ignore that. And our goal is to match what we see on the right-hand side here. We're not going to be able to do all of the features that we see on the right-hand side. We're going to kind of sketch out what we need there. Something like a rectangle, we would draw. Text. We can just choose a section and type in the name or the words that we need. You might get some squishing with the Zebral Label Designer. Don't worry too much about the font. You can copy and paste, and you can fill out the next sections. Some of these are just going to be placeholders. So what we'll end up doing later is putting in a variable field value for med license. We're looking right now to put placeholders in every area that we're going to have some information on the label. I'm going to skip through some of the process here because it's mostly the same. We're going to go over to a label I've already set up. Now, this label is about as good as you can get with the Zebral Label Designer. What we have are some values that just look funky, but most everything is good. In the case of multi-line text, even the professional version of Zebra Designer cannot handle multi-line text. So what we do is we just fill out whatever text is going to be in there, and then we kind of draw the box according to how much text we think we're going to, how much text space we're going to need. In order to rotate text, you would highlight the text and then you get the little circle here that allows you to rotate it. Then we go to File and Print, and here we would print a file. It then saves the label as a PRN, which you can open with a text editor. The next step is to go to the file, right-click, choose to edit it with Notepad, then copy this text. You're going to copy the text, then you're going to pull up your browser and go to Labelary. So labelary.com, and you go to the online viewer. It will pull up this viewer by default. Here's where we can finalize the format of the label. We'll copy this text, we'll paste it in, we'll press redraw, and now we get this label, which looks a little bit funky. There's a few things we need to do. Zebra Designer puts in a specific size setup that we don't want, so we remove these two lines here. And if you're unsure of what the lines mean, everything you click on in this section here shows you information about what that means down below. If we click on this, we get sets the alignment of the position top left corner, so it tells us where whatever this value is here, and we'll get into that, is actually positioned. We want to get rid of the sizing though, and that happens to be these two lines here. So I'm going to cut those out, press redraw, and we're getting there. Next, we want to set the value of the text that we see here that's all blurry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this easier for us to read. You want to make sure that there's no indentation on your text. Then I'm going to add a command line in this section here that sets the word wrap. I'm going to paste that line right beneath the original line, and we can see the difference. Here I've got a position of where the text will be, and we can see that by clicking on FT. That's the alignment. Then I've got the font height and width, so 25. Then I've got max lines, line spacing, alignment, and then we've got hex indicator and FD data. I'm going to remove this. We press redraw, and now the text wraps, and it's a good font. Next, I'm going to assign some field values that we want. We can see here that this is THC and CBD. I'm going to make this easier for us to read. Once again, I will highlight the value, item, menu item, THC. If you're wondering where I got this from, we have a preset list of field values that you can use to print on a label. So you would just put in this property to replace the THC value. The same thing we'll do with the CBD. Then we'll do the same thing with the product name. Let's go here so that it's easier to read, and then we will put in the product name. That's going to be the item's name, and then we'll copy that again. We can go down to another value we can recognize. Here we see 14G, so that's the quantity. So I'm going to highlight 14, and in this case it's just the item quantity. It's not item menu name. Menu item refers to the properties that would apply to any time that item is sold, not on that particular sale. Just the basic item quantity would be for that particular sale. We have other values like item.price, item.tax, etc. Then down at the bottom we have the same value. We have the 14 grams and 0.5. This is a little bit more sophisticated, and you don't have to know all of these methods. I'm just going through this to show you the flexibility of building labels and how you can do it over time. You can certainly call us up, and we can certainly help you configure this to work for your business. Now what I've done is I have entered in the values that we're going to want for how to do 0.5 ounce. So we have item.quantity times 0.035, etc. And that's going to be an equation to convert grams to ounces. And then we have this 2 fixed 2 means that we're going to only go over to a maximum of 2 digits. It leaves out trailing zeros. Now when we press redraw, we're not going to get those values that come from this menu item. We're just going to see the raw text. So we will see item.quantity, etc. But we know when we move this text over into the point of sale, we're going to get the output that we desire. Let's just fix that. And we press redraw, and now we get some funky values. It can be helpful to retain the original example text that you use so that you have something to compare to, because when you start looking at this, you're going to have a hard time reading what you intend it to be. So you want to make sure that you keep both a copy of this text and a copy of the example text as you move along. Once we're done, we'll have something like this, and it will have all the values in that we needed, the dates, the batch date, etc. Then we can copy this text over. To paste those settings in, we'll go to Settings. Okay, and then we can go to the label template for exit label. It will just display an example beneath us, and we press exit. Then we can paste in that code. It's the same code, so I don't need to paste it, but you just highlight, press Control V as in Victor, and then you'd have the text in there. Then we would set the item type to match the label here. In this case, we'll look up Evo Lab Academy. Get rid of that, and we can see that Lab Academy is an extract. We know that the type of the label is already set, but I'll show you where it goes. We scroll down, and we see that the exit label is assigned to the type, so that's why we got a printout. We can create different types of exit labels for any different type. If you have any questions, give us a call at 866-973-8099. Email support@pointlesspos.com. Leave a comment below. We look forward to hearing from you.